Leo lived in a small town called Mirrodale. His house was tiny. Only one room. It stood near the railway tracks. Every morning, the sound of trains was his alarm. His father could not work much because of a back injury. His mother worked as a cleaner in other people's houses. Leo was only 12, but he understood life was hard. Leo went to Mirrodale Secondary School. Most children wore clean uniforms and had good shoes. Leo's clothes were old and faded. His shoes were second-hand. Max's father owned the biggest clothing shop in town. Max and his friends had new phones, branded shoes, and money to spend. They thought Leo was only good for jokes. Sometimes they would knock down his lunchbox. Sometimes they threw coins at him and said, "Here you go, beggar, practice collecting." The teachers saw this but didn't stop it. One day, Max, a rich boy in his class, shouted, "Hey Leo, did you sleep in those clothes? Or are you starting beggar fashion?" Everyone laughed. Leo stayed quiet and kept walking. That he knew if he replied, the teasing would get worse. After school, Leo didn't play cricket or video games. That he worked. He carried bags from the market, cleaned bicycles at his uncle's workshop, and helped in a small shop. That he earned only a little money, but it helped his family. Every day, he passed Max's father's big shop. That he stopped to look at the bright lights, the glass windows, and the rows of new clothes. That he wondered, how do people make something so big? How can someone go from nothing to this? One day, he asked his uncle, "How do people get rich?" His uncle said, "Some work hard, most are born into it. For boys like us, the road is long." Leo didn't care how long the road was. He just wanted to walk it. When Leo was 14, the school held its yearly celebration. It was a big event. Parents came in nice clothes. Some students danced or sang on stage. Leo was chosen to help backstage, moving props and fixing lights. While he carried a box, Max shouted, "Careful, servant boy, don't drop it or we'll take it from your salary." People laughed, even some parents smiled. Leo felt his face burn with shame, but this time the shame didn't make him weak. It made him angry and determined. He walked home that night and whispered to himself, "One day, I will show them. They will remember this moment and regret it." From that day, Leo started a secret habit. Every night, after work, he sat near the railway tracks with an old notebook he found in the trash. Under the streetlight, he wrote everything he learned about money and business. He borrowed books and copied important notes. He thought of ideas for selling things. He didn't have the money to start yet, but he was training his mind. While his classmates wasted time, Leo was preparing for a future they could not imagine. He didn't know it yet, but one day, those same classmates would walk into his office and call him sir. 2 years passed. Leo was now 16. That he still worked after school and studied late at night. His notebook was full of business ideas and notes about money. But he still had no way to start anything big. One summer afternoon, Leo was helping his uncle repair bicycles. A man in his 40s came to fix his bike. He was wearing a simple shirt, but he spoke with confidence. While his uncle worked, the man asked Leo, "You look serious for your age. Do you like fixing bicycles?" Leo smiled. "I like learning how things work. I want to start my own business one day." The man's eyes lit up. "That's good. Most people your age only think about fun." They talked for a few minutes. Leo learned that the man's name was Mr. Samir, and he ran a small printing and design shop in the next town. Before leaving, Mr. Samir gave Leo his business card. "If you ever want to learn about running a shop, come and see me," he said. Leo kept the card like treasure. A few weeks later, during school holidays, Leo took a bus to Mr. Samir's shop. He introduced himself again and asked, "Can I work here and learn?" "You don't have to pay me much," Mr. Samir laughed. "If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach, and I will pay you something. Work should always be valued." The shop was small but busy. Customers came to print flyers, wedding cards, and posters. Leo learned how to talk politely to customers, how to design simple prints, and how to keep accounts. Most importantly, he learned how even a small business could grow with good service. One day, a schoolboy came in to print a poster for his event. Leo noticed the design was poor. He asked politely, "Do you want me to make it look better?" The boy agreed, and Leo quickly redesigned it on the computer. The boy was so happy that he told his friends. Soon, other students came to the shop asking for the boy who makes posters look cool. Mr. Samir noticed. "You have an eye for this. You could start your own small design service one day." That night, Leo couldn't sleep. He thought, "What if I start making posters and flyers for local schools?" At first, Leo felt scared. He had never approached people to sell anything. But he remembered Max's laughter, the humiliation on Founder's Day, and how he had promised himself to rise. The next week, he walked into a nearby school and spoke to the principal. "I can design and print colorful posters for your events at a low price," he said. The principal agreed to try. That was Leo's first independent project. He worked hard on it, and the school loved the result. Soon, word spread. By the end of that year, Leo was making a little extra money from designing posters for schools, tuition centers, and small shops. It was not a fortune, but it was his own business, and it gave him confidence. He still worked at Mr. Samir's shop, learning everything he could about managing customers, handling money, and solving problems. Leo didn't know it yet, but this was the start of the road that would make him the boss one day. Leo was now 18. He had finished school, but college was too expensive. Instead, he worked full-time at Mr. Samir's printing shop and continued doing his small poster business on the side. Life was still hard, his family needed money, and most of his earnings went to them. Some nights, he went to bed hungry. One day, Leo got a big order from a new tuition center. They wanted 500 colorful flyers. Excited, he printed them. But he had made a small spelling mistake. The customer refused to pay. Leo had to redo the work and lost money. That night, he sat in his small room and thought, mistakes are expensive. I must double-check everything. From then on, he became careful, even with small jobs. After 2 years, Mr. Samir told him, "Leo, you have learned enough. Why don't you start your own printing shop?" Leo liked the idea but had no savings. The rent for a shop was too high. Still, he didn't give up. He found a tiny space near the bus stop, just big enough for a table, a chair, and an old printer he bought secondhand. The first month was very quiet. Some days, no customers came at all, but Leo kept sitting there, designing posters on his computer and giving out flyers to promote his shop. Some days, Leo felt hopeless. Once, he thought about closing the shop and finding a normal job. But then he remembered Max's voice calling him a servant boy. That memory burned like fire in his heart. He told himself, "I'm not going back." Slowly, customers began to come, first for small jobs, then for bigger ones. He made sure every order was perfect and delivered on time. Leo worked from early morning until midnight. In the morning, he printed and delivered orders. In the afternoon, he designed posters for schools and shops. At night, he learned new design software from free online tutorials. He slept only 5 to 6 hours a day. He missed weddings, birthdays, and festivals. People said, "You're working too hard." But Leo thought, "I am building my future. This is the only way." One day, a big event company needed banners, posters, and brochures. All within 3 days. Everyone else said it was impossible. Leo took the job. He worked for 72 hours with barely any rest. When the event company saw the results, they were amazed. They began giving him more work, and they recommended him to other businesses. Now Leo's shop was busy every day. He hired one helper, then another. He was no longer just surviving. He was growing. Leo was now 25. His printing shop had grown into a small company. He had 8 employees, 3 large printers, and a steady list of clients. He had also moved his family into a better home, still simple, but clean and safe. For the first time, they had more than enough to eat. One afternoon, while delivering an order, Leo passed by Max's father's textile store. It still looked big and fancy, but Leo noticed something. There were fewer customers than before. Later, he heard from a supplier that the textile store was losing money. Competition from bigger brands was hurting them. Leo's mind began to work. He thought, "If I ever get the chance, I'll buy this store." Over the next 3 years, Leo didn't just run his printing company. He also started a side business making branded shopping bags and packaging for shops. It became very popular. He saved every extra rupee. Instead of buying luxury things, he invested in better machines and more staff. Finally, at the age of 29, Leo heard the news. Max's father was selling the textile store. It was expensive, but Leo had enough savings and bank support to make the purchase. After long talks, the deal was done. The store that once represented everything he couldn't have now belonged to him. On his first official day as the new owner, Leo walked through the store in a suit. The old staff stood in a line to meet him. Among them was Max. He looked shocked to see Leo. "You own this now?" he asked quietly. "Yes," Leo replied calmly. "And you work for me now?" Max looked away, embarrassed. Leo didn't treat Max badly. That he gave him normal work and paid him fairly. But deep inside, Leo felt the sweet taste of victory. The boy who was once called beggar and servant boy now signed Max's salary. Months passed since Leo bought the textile store. Business was improving. He brought in new designs, better marketing, and friendly customer service. The shop was alive again, but under his name. One evening, when the store was closing, Max came to Leo's office. He stood quietly for a moment, then said, "Leo, I want to say I'm sorry for everything back in school. I was cruel to you." Leo looked at him. The memories of the teasing, the coins thrown at him, the public humiliation, all came back. But instead of anger, he felt calm. "You were young," Leo said, "and I was poor. You saw an easy target, but now you see, life can change." Max nodded slowly. "It can. And you proved it." Later that week, Leo spoke at a local school event. Standing on the stage where he had once been laughed at, he said, "When I was here, some people laughed at me for being poor. They thought my future was already decided. But I want every student here to know your starting point doesn't decide your ending. If you work hard, keep learning, and never give up, you can change everything." The audience clapped. Some students even stood up, inspired by his words. Leo walked home that night, remembering the boy who sat under the streetlight with an old notebook. That boy had dreamed of building a business. Now, he was living it, and somewhere deep inside, he knew. The real victory wasn't owning the store or becoming the boss. The real victory was proving to himself that he could rise, no matter where he started.